Good evening. A tense situation continues in Mexico, one day after violence erupted on the streets of popular tourist areas, including Puerto Vallarta.
Tonight, thousands of Canadians remain in the country with no clear picture on how or when some will be able to leave. CTV's John Woodward joins us live tonight in studio. And John, you've been speaking with some of those who their vacation's been anything but relaxing.
Yeah, Michelle, we've been talking to people who've been following the government advice, sheltering in place and staying out of the way of the violence that has surprised them during their vacation. In the skies above Puerto Vallarta, military helicopters circled over smoke rising from fires, often from burning vehicles, sometimes burning stores. Not exactly the vacation many Canadian visitors had in mind.
You could really see smoke from all across the city. It also you could smell like burning gas in the air.
Frowin Falk and friends Lily Lutz and Savannah Rousseau were supposed to return to Canada on Sunday, but the airport was closed.
Flight delayed, then flight canceled, and then the more we found out was this is actually super serious and scary to be around.
Snowbird Pat Silver saw the smoke in the air from her condo and followed the advice to stay inside.
It's just exactly like COVID. We're hunkered down in our place, and we have food and water, and I've got a book to read, and I've got work to do, and we're fine.
Dozens of burning cars in multiple states, the response by one cartel to a Mexican military operation that killed its leader.
By putting a burning car across the lanes, no one could go anywhere. So I think that was the message, is we're going to paralyze your city.
This will affect all of Mexico, unfortunately.
Travel agent Catherine Valen says Mexico's tourist spots have long been safe havens from cartel violence. Any change will have big repercussions.
I mean, that whole area is going to struggle, but Cancun's going to struggle too, even though it's so far away from that area on the other side. People will still be hesitant to go.
It was a violent response from the henchmen that work for these organizations. This time it was a little bit more intense, especially in the sense that violence has erupted in more regions.
University student Ryan Ski supposed to return to Toronto on Monday for class.
I have a midterm tomorrow, and so I had to email my professor about that. He was pretty understanding. I don't think he's heard this excuse before.
The students told their flights will resume tomorrow. They may be missing class, but seeing this up close, they've gotten a different kind of education. Now, some of these people are telling us they're being seated on flights that are expected to take off as soon as tomorrow. Our Foreign Affairs Minister, Anita Anand, says the Mexican government believes the unrest will fade, though the Canadians we talked to are still on alert. Back to you.
Thank you, John. And for thousands of GTA residents, Mexico is their winter destination of choice.
And with March break on the horizon, many are wondering how yesterday's events could change their travel plans. CTV's Raheem Ladani is live inside Pearson Airport tonight. And Raheem, you've been speaking with Mexico that have not been affected.
Nathan and Michelle, good evening, rather. The overarching message from people here at Pearson Airport today is they feel there is a wide enough of a buffer between Puerto Vallarta and the destinations that they would traditionally be traveling to, namely Cancun and Tulum. As a result of that, they are not heeding the advice from federal and provincial officials, and instead they're choosing to catch a flight and catch some sun. It's a family vacation for Randy, Dawn, and their children, heading south to Cancun, Mexico, unfazed by the situation unfolding on the country's west coast.
Well, with everything, there's a risk, right? So we feel pretty safe going there.
The government of Canada has essentially put all of Mexico under a heightened travel alert, from yellow, advising Canadians to exercise a high degree of caution, to orange, advising to avoid non-essential travel.
I highly recommend don't go to Mexico. I highly recommended that before this happened, and just focus on getting home.
WestJet, Air Canada, and Porter Airlines have all suspended service to Puerto Vallarta, where the violence is currently concentrated on Mexico's Pacific coast, but still servicing sunny destinations, including Cancun, Playa del Carmen, and Tulum, roughly 2,400 kilometers away.
There was some fires in Tulum, but everything seems safe, and a lot of the people on the site seem to say it's okay. But a little bit of apprehension knowing that there's some serious political stuff going on, but looking forward to a vacation that's long overdue.
For Canadians now stranded in Puerto Vallarta, there are questions about their medical insurance lapsing, while those who have paid for an upcoming trip, for example, during March break, should check their travel insurance.
If you didn't buy it, and you're surely not going to buy it now, it's no longer on the table. Bottom line is, once it's called a travel advisor, it's now a known cause. So really, there's a lot of people that are going to be out large sums of money based on this.
Adding that deciding to travel anywhere in Mexico right now is a very personal decision. And for those making that personal decision, if you are deciding to travel to Mexico, the big advice here is to register with Global Affairs Canada. That way they have your information so that if the situation does deteriorate, they're able to get in touch with you more seamlessly. Reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladani. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Rahim. Also tonight, Mexico's president aims to reassure the public. The latest on the work to restore safety as Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister outlines efforts to help Canadians.
But first, a live look outside, and it is chilly. Get ready for a big drop in temperature tonight. The trade-off, we do get some sunshine tomorrow. We did have some today. Jessica Smith is here with a look at the current conditions. Jess.
It is that time of year where we are just on the cusp of spring, but we're still battling with that wintry type weather. And it has been frigid as we've made our way throughout the day today. It gets cold tonight and even colder into the start of the day tomorrow before a small shift takes place. We saw some flurries early on, but the bulk of that moved out. High pressure moved in, meaning lots of sunshine, but it has been very cold. We've kind of settled into a very short below seasonal trend. We're right now kind of around -4 to maybe -11 across southern Ontario, but you factor in that wind chill and it feels significantly cooler. Towards the island and through Pearson between -6, -7, but feeling between -14 and -17 tonight. Well below seasonal, -14, feeling like -20. Coming up, a full look at your long-range forecast, including the potential for some snow on the way. But right now, I'll send things back over to Michelle.
Thank you, Jess. The city has opened 3 additional warming centers in anticipation of these frigid temperatures. Sites at Cecil Community Center, Jimmy Simpson Rec Center, and 136 Spadina Road open at 5 this evening. They are in addition to the city's 4 other warming centers that remain in operation with resting spaces, meals, and referrals to emergency shelters. 1 person is dead following a late-night house fire in Curtis, east of Oshawa.
The Ontario Fire Marshal's office has been called in to investigate. CTV's John Musselman is live in Curtis tonight with the latest. John.
Nathan, a devastating day for family and loved ones of the victim and for neighbors here who watched this home behind me go up in flames. A neighbor who didn't want to be identified tells CTV News he heard a loud noise, and when he looked outside, he saw the house next door fully engulfed in flames.
I just heard glass shattering, so I was like, oh, someone just shattering glass. So I just kind of looked out there and just torrents of flames coming out the window.
That neighbor called 911. It was just after 10:30 last night when the fire broke out on Nash Road in Curtis. That's just east of Oshawa. A person inside the home died in the fire.
Crews made an initial entry, very small entry, a foot into a door, but due to structural integrity issues and the involvement of the fire, crews backed out. Coming in the cold weather and late at night, it was very difficult for crews, and the close conditions of the houses next to them, crews had a hard time navigating around the house with the extent of the fire spreading from basically property edge to property edge.
The name and age of the victim has not been released by authorities. Distraught family members who showed up at the scene today say the victim is 77 years old and he lived alone in the home. The fire caused extensive damage, as you can see in this drone video footage. Investigators with the Ontario Fire Marshal's office say it will take some time to determine how it started.
Our investigators are determining the structure of the building, the safety of the building. Once that's determined, at that point, then they'll enter the building to determine the origin and cause of the fire.
The home has been sealed off during this investigation. And investigators say there was extensive damage inside that home, even structural damage as well. So it will take some time until they can determine how this fire started. Reporting live in Curtis, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. 2 men from Toronto have been charged in connection with an attempted robbery in York Region. Investigators released video of the arrests, which were made after police responded to a call about a suspicious vehicle near Islington and Stegmans Road in Kleinburg. 1 suspect was taken into custody after a foot chase. The other was found hiding in a backyard shed, following a search involving police dogs and a helicopter. Police say the suspect's vehicle had been stolen from Toronto on February 8th. 24-year-old Anthony Mitchell and 22-year-old Joshua Adams are both charged with attempted robbery, disguised with intent and possession of stolen property. Investigators say they believe the pair may be linked to similar incidents in the region.
Still ahead, sending the wrong signal. A Kitchener-based company is overlooked in favor of a U.S. firm for a contract with the Finch West LRT. The criticism and the response.
But first, a pair of water main breaks snarled traffic along the Gardiner early this morning. Several lanes were blocked in each direction west of Park Lawn Road for several hours during the morning rush. Things were mostly clear by 9 a.m. The city released a statement saying further investigation will help determine the cause of the breaks.
A new Toronto community housing building has opened in the Alexandra Park neighborhood.
3, 2, 1.
130 Augusta Avenue is the new home of the Atkinson Cooperative. It's the first housing co-op in Canada to be created by a social housing provider. The new building features 103 units as well as a city-run daycare for 62 children. It also has an outdoor community garden on the 5th floor.
This is a cooperative. And in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the City of Toronto helped build a lot of co-ops. And it's a beautiful model. Mixed income, and then you have the tenants itself have complete control over how the building is run. It's self-governance. And we want to do a lot more. Other than this one, the city the shuffle have hit the ground on Eglinton. We have a gigantic 625 units of cooperative being built right now as we speak.
The old Atkinson Co-op building will be torn down to make way for more new affordable housing. Calls continue for the provincial government to scrap their announced changes to the Ontario Student Assistance Program.
Critics say the shift from grants to loans will leave many drowning in debt. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has the details.
Despite more than a week of anger and anxiety over changes to OSAP, there's no sign of thaw on the policy that will dramatically cut the money given to students in grants. The shift is to more repayable loans.
You have to be held accountable when you take tax dollars. It's not a freebie anymore. Money doesn't grow on trees.
Flanked by college and university students, the opposition leader is demanding a reversal from the premier.
He is going to literally leave these students and students across this province struggling with debt for decades.
Students admit they're thinking of dropping out, unable to take on tens of thousands of dollars of debt, and graduating into a jobs market that could challenge their ability to pay it back.
If we make education less accessible, we only weaken our future workforce.
It is the future Doug Ford believes prospective students should be thinking of.
When you take a course, you have to look at in-demand jobs, something that we can drive our economy.
He mentions careers in the trades, manufacturing, nuclear energy, and healthcare. Adese Mbalaja dreams of working in public health.
To break into the workforce, despite these high demand and that language is really difficult. And so a master's program is something I and so many students want to pursue, but we don't know what that looks like financially for us.
If she can't go forward with the kind of expertise the province needs,
I think it shows that this government is fundamentally, whether willfully or unintentionally, out of touch.
Christian Turner's been counting on OSAP grants for his education. He lost both his parents 2.5 years ago. The shift to loans?
It's a punishment for being poor. It is a punishment for those who have gone through extreme hardship and cannot fight for themselves.
The government's position is that the OSAP setup has become unsustainable. The NDP argues that could be fixed with a rebalancing of priorities so students aren't left under mountains of debt. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Premier Doug Ford offered his thoughts on a recent U.S. Supreme Court decision which struck down President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. Ford says now is the time for both Ontario and Canada to act.
Things change on a daily basis, as everyone knows. President Trump could wake up and, a couple options. We move forward and we get a deal, or he might blow up the Kuzma deal. But we have to have plans for everything. And, I always say, and I've said this to the federal government, Hope is not a strategy. A strategy is getting out there, making sure that we focus on our key areas of our economy, no matter right now if it's building out nuclear, cutting regulatory conditions.
Canadian exports to the U.S. that comply with the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement are exempt from the global tariffs announced by Trump. Auto, steel, and aluminum tariffs remain in place because they were imposed under different legislation. Questions are being raised about whether an Ontario tech firm was shut out of bidding on the traffic signal work for the new Finch West LRT.
CTV's Natalie Johnson has more on the fallout from the city turning to U.S. technology during the ongoing trade war.
This is a testing rack that we have. So all these blinking lights that you see over here, these are the units that would go inside of the traffic cabinet.
Inside Myovision's massive high-tech hub.
These are products that would go into an intersection and would help cities to understand and optimize traffic flow.
The Kitchener-based tech company is producing products that transform traditional traffic lights into data-driven networks.
We want to make sure this thing works in Alaska winters and Phoenix summers. So we'll take it really cold, and then you can see that guy's at 75 degrees right now. We take it really hot.
These smart systems connect to cameras to read the flow of traffic at intersections, optimizing signal timing to combat congestion.
There's North America.
With the technology already installed in 130 Toronto intersections, 20,000 worldwide, Myovision had expected to bid on the Transit Signal Priority Project for the Finch West LRT, which recently launched at lagging speeds, often held up at red lights.
Fixing traffic is what we do. So, not only can we preserve manufacturing jobs in Ontario, but we can also enhance the traffic and the driving experience for all the citizens.
But when the procurement call for analytic systems at 8 intersections along the Finch West corridor came out, the city's RFP specified the name of a U.S.-based company. Myovision writing to the city in protest, quote, defaulting to high-profile American hardware vendors, particularly when comparable world-class innovation is being developed right here in Ontario, risks overlooking the economic and security benefits of supporting local industry.
Toronto is in our backyard, has been one of our first customer, and we feel right now a bit betrayed by our own country.
The city called it a mistake and removed the company name, but continued to ask for the specific LiDAR laser technology used by that same American firm. As the trade war with the U.S. continues, a new Build America, Buy America policy comes into effect in the States later this year, requiring 55% of the cost of a manufactured good to be born in the U.S. That puts pressure on Canadian companies like Myovision to grow demand here to offset the losses that will come south of the border.
With so much economic uncertainty, governments at all levels need to be prioritizing investment in Canadian companies. In this instance, we have one of the world-leading traffic AI technology companies right here, and through the procurement system here at City Hall, they were effectively excluded.
The city telling CTV News in a statement, quote, while Myovision's video-based analytics have been used successfully in the city, Myovision does not offer the LiDAR-based technology the city is exploring through this work assignment.
If I'm a citizen and I'm driving around, what I care about is it safe and is it quick, right? Like, can I get there when I want to get there? What technology you use to give me that outcome, I don't really care. I want the best possible price and the best possible outcome for me and my family.
Myovision feeling frozen out of a Canadian contract at a time when governments have pledged to boost domestic demand by giving companies here at home the green light. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
Returning to our top story, Canadian officials say there are currently no plans to send repatriation flights to Mexico to assist Canadians who've been stranded there due to the recent cartel violence.
The government says it's in close contact with Mexican officials, and Canadian staff are on the ground ready to help. CTV's Mike Lecouture has the details.
Amanecimos sin ningún bloqueo en ninguna de las carreteras.
In an attempt to reassure people in her country, Mexico's president said all highway blockades have been cleared and practically all activity is back to normal. Claudia Sheinbaum told media a national command center has been established to coordinate security operations.
Gobierno, hay Fuerzas Armadas.
There is coordination between the armed forces, security cabinet, and government authorities to safeguard people, she says. Now, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister is most concerned for the more than 26,000 Canadians registered in Mexico, and she's being reassured by her Mexican counterpart.
In my conversation with Foreign Minister de la Fuente last evening, he indicated that the situation should stabilize in the coming days.
In the meantime, Anand says officials are on the ground and in Ottawa already helping affected Canadians.
We have received 440 calls. 3 of those calls involve consular cases. 2 of those are injuries that are non-life threatening.
There's also concern over when airlines can resume normal operations after a number of flights into Mexico were canceled. Air Canada is urging all customers in the Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta areas to remain at their hotel or current accommodations until further notice. WestJet canceled 20 additional flights to and from Puerto Vallarta on Monday, while Porter Airlines has canceled a total of 3 round-trip flights, adding, "Because this situation is evolving, we are monitoring it and will consider further policy and schedule updates as needed. This includes determining when flights can safely restart." Asked if Canada was preparing to organize repatriation flights for the thousands of Canadians who are in Mexico, Anita Anand said that is not something the federal government was considering at this time. Mike Lecoulteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
MPs have returned to the House of Commons, with former Conservative Matt Genereux taking a seat on the opposite side for the first time today. The Alberta MP crossed the floor to the Liberals last week, months after announcing he was leaving politics. Genereux says he reflected over the holidays about staying on as an MP and cited Prime Minister Mark Carney's speech at the World Economic Forum as a reason for making the jump. Genereux is the 3rd Conservative to join the Liberals since November. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says Genereux has betrayed the people of his riding.
A historic Montreal church has been gutted by a massive fire. Crews rushed to the five-alarm blaze of the former St. Paul Church early this morning. The building, which was built between 1910 and 1911, was vacant at the time, but the flames were so intense the nearby area had to be evacuated, including the church's former rectory, which is used as a seniors' home. 148 people affected by this fire are being cared for, including 73 from the seniors' residence. There are no reported injuries, and the cause is under investigation.
Almost the entire U.S. East Coast is getting hammered by a massive winter storm. The winter storm warning stretched from northern Maine all the way down to North Carolina. Parts of the country have been buried by over half a meter of snow. More than 5,000 flights have been canceled, and hundreds of thousands of people are without power. This time-lapse video shows the Empire State Building engulfed in snowfall. In New York City, all non-essential travel was banned today.
The scandal rocking the royal family deepens with new accusations about former Prince Andrew. The fresh allegations reported by the BBC say Andrew Mountbatten Windsor charged taxpayers for massages and travel expenses during his time as U.S. envoy. He served in the unpaid role from 2001 to 2011, but the position was supported by public funding for overseas trips. The king's younger brother was arrested and released last week as the investigation continues into allegations of misconduct related to emails sent to Jeffrey Epstein. And the fallout related to Epstein continues from the UK. Now, former British ambassador to the U.S., Peter Mandelson, has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. The 72-year-old was fired from the post in September when the depth of his friendship with the disgraced financier was revealed. Police began a criminal investigation into Mandelson earlier this month.
Nick Reiner's pleaded not guilty to murdering his parents, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner. Reiner's attorney entered the not guilty plea to 2 counts of first-degree murder in a Los Angeles courtroom. Today, the acclaimed director and his wife of 36 years, they were found dead in their Los Angeles home December 14th. Nick Reiner was arrested hours later and has been held without bail ever since. Police have not said anything about a possible motive.
Just days after NASA announced their return to the moon was go for launch, the highly anticipated trip, which will include 1 Canadian, has been delayed again. The space agency says the Artemis 2 mission will be grounded until at least April. Last week, a crucial fuel test was completed successfully, setting up a March launch. However, the helium system malfunctioned, and now the rocket is headed back to the hangar for repairs. Once the mission is ready, Canadian Jeremy Hansen, along with 3 American astronauts, will embark on the journey around the moon designed to pave the way for a future moon landing.
And speaking of landing, our Canadian athletes are on the way home from the Olympic Winter Games. We're at Pearson Airport this hour, catching up with familiar faces at arrivals with their new hardware in tow.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, we've recently had a story about a dirty oil scam. If you're trying to sell a car, criminals may spray oil on your engine and up your tailpipe, so it appears to have serious problems. The OPP just arrested 3 people in connection with the scam. All of that story, that's just ahead.
And after a fairly seasonal day yesterday, we've entered into a bit of a cold stretch. We will see temperatures dipping well below that seasonal point as we head throughout the evening and into the day tomorrow before a warm-up and snow are on the way. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Last month, we had a story about a new scam involving criminals tampering with your vehicle to try and buy it at a cheaper price.
Following our story, another person selling their car was almost scammed. They called police, which led to 3 arrests. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan. And Michelle, we heard from 5 other people who say they were scammed or almost scammed trying to sell their vehicles. Fraudsters spray oil on your engine and up your tailpipe so your car starts smoking and appears to have problems. That's when they make you a lowball offer.
I feel violated.
Mark Rafi and Carol Crawford were selling their Hyundai Santa Fe. 2 people came at night to see the vehicle. While one man distracted Rafi, the other appeared to spray oil in the engine compartment and the tailpipe. After a short test drive, smoke was pouring off the vehicle.
There's all this white smoke coming out, and the other guy who was in the driveway comes running around, says, look, he says, there's oil everywhere.
The 2 men said the engine had blown and the car was worthless.
It was like, oh my gosh, something must have blown because there's oil everywhere.
Rafi was asking $7,000 for the SUV, but was convinced to take $1,000 for it. Only after they checked their security video did they realize what happened.
We saw everything. I said, we've been scammed. I said, this is a scam.
Following our report, we heard from other viewers who were also victims of the dirty oil scam. This video shows a man appearing to put oil in the tailpipe of a Lexus for sale in Newmarket. When it started smoking, they offered the seller $8,000 less, which they refused.
As soon as they came back, they popped the hood and started to show the seller that there was oil all over the engine compartment of the vehicle.
The OPP charged 3 men in connection with the scam after they tried to purchase a car in Peterborough. While there is no video, the fraud is similar to what others reported.
They tried to tell the seller that his engine must have blown.
3 men were charged with fraud, mischief, and possession of property obtained by crime. They are 31-year-old Maria Cirilla of Pickering, 26-year-old Constantin Tanase of Scarborough, and 22-year-old Michael Tanase of Ajax.
The vehicle that they were driving was actually linked to another occurrence in another region for the same thing.
If you're selling a car privately, don't do it at night. Have someone else with you, and don't leave the potential buyers alone with your vehicle. The 3 accused are to appear in a Peterborough courtroom March 10th. And if you're selling a car, you should inspect the engine compartment and take photos. And if your vehicle is working fine but then has problems when you're trying to sell it, it may be a sign it has been tampered with. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
All right, let's talk about the forecast. It just seems like this is the time of year when anything can happen weather-wise.
You have to tune in because we're going to keep it on top of it. I like the fact that we are getting some sunshine tomorrow. The trade-off is the cold, but I feel like this winter we're a hardier bunch.
We are. I mean, it's that, mixed bag of like chips this time of year where you get a little bit of everything. We get cold and sunshine today. We get a little bit of warm weather midweek, some snow. Whatever you'd like, we have all of it as we head throughout the week. But the good news is we are
getting towards the beginning of the spring season. It doesn't necessarily mean we are done with winter weather, but spring is on the horizon. It is cool out there, not much in the way of active weather, just some cloud cover tonight. But with this kind of freeze and thaw cycle, be very, very careful around any bodies of water. Obviously not going on any ice that is not monitored by the city. There are plenty of rinks that are out there that are still so much fun to attend, temperature controlled and very, very safe. As you head out through the rest of your evening, it is going to be cold. We are well below that seasonal point. We should be around -7 right now. We're feeling like -17. It is going to be really chilly tonight. Dangerous for yourself, dangerous for pets with exposed skin, for people spending time outdoors. So just be careful and check on the more vulnerable people in your life. We are looking at a very short cold snap, but an impactful one. Tonight we'll drop down to -14. It'll feel like -20 everywhere. Feeling that chill. We're looking at wind chill values near -32 for our friends out in Bancroft. Into the day tomorrow, more high pressure, lots of sunshine, but our daytime high, which we don't reach until the afternoon, not happening until 6 p.m. And it is going to be fresh out there for everyone. Not quite the cold snap we had a few weeks ago, but still, it is going to be chilly. The bulk of the snow we saw early on, kind of a bit of a tail end left of that nor'easter that was impacting the East Coast. We finished with that early on, but we are watching for an Alberta clipper that will make its way across as we head throughout the evening tomorrow. So something to note for your drive home. Again, high pressure kept us nice and sunny today. That will roll into the start of the day tomorrow. But there is that clipper that's going to push through, bringing some pretty widespread snow for us here in the GTA right now, not prompting any alerts, but any snow is going to impact your commute. For the rest of our evening, though, it is clear but very cold. For your drive tomorrow to work, heading off to school, wind chill values between -17 to -20, so bundle up in the morning. The cloud cover rolls in kind of mid-afternoon, and the snow for the GTA, the downtown core, the bulk of this is just around 8 p.m. So if your commute is kind of 7:30 and onwards, it will be a bit of a challenge. We're looking at roughly 5 to 10 centimeters. If you're a little bit further west, you're looking at a little closer to 10 to 15. As we head throughout the evening, though, the bulk of the snow will push into eastern portions of Ontario as we get past midnight. So for the GTA, the downtown core, the bulk of this is done as we get through about 1:30 in the morning. And we're looking at a relatively dry drive to work on Wednesday. Still some lingering flurries in towards, say, Halton Region, through London, out towards Niagara. But it really pushes out as we head throughout the day with just the chance of a scattered flurry. So again, not a wash of a day on Tuesday or Wednesday, but it will impact kind of your evening commute depending on when you drive Tuesday night in towards your Wednesday morning. Temperature-wise, though, again, below seasonal to start the day tomorrow, but above seasonal to end it. It's one of those, again, weird days temperature-wise, but the wind is going to be kind of the deciding factor that keeps things cool out of the north. And then as we head throughout the rest of the week, we're fairly seasonal for the most part. It's as we head in towards the end of your Saturday in towards Sunday where temperatures drop once again, but at least on Sunday, we have a colder day, but we get the sunshine. So the trade-off this time of year really is sometimes we get the colder air, but we get a sunnier sky, warmer air, cloudier sky. We're just kind of battling between that transition as we head in towards the beginning of spring on March the 1st. Hopefully this helps you plan. Michelle, I will send things back over to you.
Always does. Thank you, Jess.
Thanks.
Also tonight, a new drug with the potential to slow the progression of Alzheimer's clears one hurdle only to hit another. It's got the green light in Canada, but Canada's drug agency doesn't think the provincial drug plans should cover the hefty cost.
A controversial drug to slow the progression of Alzheimer's hit a roadblock in Canada.
CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan has reaction to the decision.
Lecanemab, also known as Leqembi, is already being used in dozens of countries, including the U.S. It was approved last fall by Health Canada for use in early-stage patients, but the next step on the road to access has hit a roadblock. In a draft, Canada's drug agency is recommending lecanemab not be covered by provincial drug plans.
While there's variability among physicians and experts, I have to say I wasn't satisfied. I think that the rejection of this drug sort of closes the door on what would be really a first step.
Dr. Howard Chertko is a senior scientist at Baycrest Health Sciences.
There have been a couple of medications released in the United States and around the world that get rid of amyloid. Amyloid is a protein that accumulates in the brain, and we see this almost always in people with Alzheimer's disease. Getting rid of the amyloid doesn't cure the disease, but seems to slow down the disease, at least in some patients.
And he admits in his own research, some patients improve, some don't. The drug agency decision indicates that while the medication can be used in Canada, it's seeking more definitive evidence before Leqembi is paid for by provincial drug formularies.
They sort of defined what they accepted as being clinically meaningful based on statistics and statistical numbers, rather than looking at individual responses of patients.
Lecanemab costs around $30,000 US per year. It's given by injection and patients must be closely monitored. Quebec's drug agency counterpart has also rejected coverage. Canada's drug agency will still be receiving feedback until March 5th, when its final decision will be made. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Nearly half of inspected specialty vape stores are breaking the rules when it comes to selling vaping products. This is according to a new federal report.
Many of the products are designed to attract young people, prompting a call to tighten enforcement. CTV's Kathy Lee has the details.
Bright lights, clean counters, strict rules on display.
20 mil?
For more than a decade, manager Hein Nago says this vape business was built on operating above board.
If you want to be compliant, it's very simple. Buy from the distributors that has been authorized by Health Canada.
But a new federal report suggests not every store operates the same way. Health Canada inspected more than 500 specialty vape shops nationwide and found 43% were breaking the rules, most often over promotion of prohibited flavors, testimonials or endorsements, packaging that did not have the required health warnings, or showed nicotine levels above the legal limit of 20 milligrams per milliliter. Public health advocates warn those violations can make vaping more appealing, especially to teens.
Among high school students in grade 12 across Canada, 27% are vaping. That's way too high.
By comparison, the Health Canada data also shows less than 1% of gas and convenience stores inspected were found non-compliant when it came to vaping products. Researchers say specialty shops often stock a broader range of products, including imports, which can make oversight harder.
The importers, the retailers themselves, and the manufacturers are all supposed to have, the responsibility to comply with Canadian regulations. And all of them, I think, in some ways, are struggling with that.
Nago worries the report unfairly paints rule followers like him, and the answer is better enforcement.
If you were to be more strict, have more inspectors going around, making sure, and take complaints from resellers and retailers seriously.
Last month, Ottawa raised fines to up to $3,000 and expanded on-the-spot ticketing as health advocates push for a nationwide ban on flavored vapes, saying patchwork rules make enforcement harder. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
One day after marching in the closing ceremonies of the Milano Cortina Games, Canadian athletes have begun returning home.
Flights are touching down this evening in several Canadian cities, including at Pearson Airport. And that is where we find CTV's Beth McDonnell, who's been there for the homecoming. Beth.
Yes, they've been coming through the doors here at international arrivals, celebrating everything they've accomplished so far and representing Canada on the world stage. Of course, these athletes are looking forward to some well-deserved rest and some home-cooked food. There are also fans here cheering them on and celebrating with them. They've come out with Canada flags and some nice cheers, right? So first tonight we met Brett Gallant. He won a gold medal in curling. He talked about what a thrill it was to take part in these games. And of course, under that golden glow, it was just smiling ear to ear, a pleasure talking to him. We also met 3 members from the bobsleigh team. 2 of them are former CFL players, actually. They talked about how much love and support they felt from Canadians all the way in Europe. And we're expecting in just a few minutes 8 women from the Canadian women's hockey team. They won silver, making so many of us proud.
We're thrilled. I mean, obviously we felt some excitement from Italy when we were over there, when we were on the podium, and you get a lot of messages rolling in, but to kind of be back in Canadian soil and just feel the excitement even just through at the airport here as we've arrived, it's pretty thrilling.
We're extremely grateful for absolutely everybody. It takes a village to make this happen with the funding and everything that goes on within our sport, and that happens with all sports. It's To have the rallying of the troops behind you and to feel that pride of the flag, it's an absolutely unbelievable feeling.
Lots of good feels right here at the arrivals tonight. In all, Canada is bringing home 21 medals. 5 of them are gold. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Michelle and Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. After the break, it's one of life's guarantees, taxes, and the season is officially underway. We have all the important dates, deadlines, and details. Business is next.
Stocks fell and bonds rose once again as investors weighed tariff uncertainty. And now the European Union says it will suspend the ratification of its trade deal with the U.S. BNN Bloomberg's Lindsay Biscaya has more.
The EU says it is seeking clarity from the White House after Donald Trump increased his global tariff threat to 15%. Now, the move comes after the Supreme Court blocked parts of President Donald Trump's trade agenda last week. The European Commission says the U.S. needs to honor its tariff deal with the EU, adding that sudden, unpredictable levies disrupt markets and supply chains. Today, the S&P 500 finished the day down more than a percentage point, and European stocks fell 0.5%. Loblaw is looking to invest $2.4 billion in 2026 to renovate and open 70 new stores. The retailer says that includes 34 new Shoppers Drug Mart pharmacies and 31 No Frills and Maxi stores. The spending is part of a broader 5-year plan and will create more than 9,000 new jobs. Canadian energy company Emera reported weaker than expected fourth quarter results. The Nova Scotia-based energy company saw profit come in below analyst expectations. The shortfall was largely driven by shortcomings in its Florida electric utility business. And here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar closed a cent lower, finishing at $72.99. West Texas Intermediate dropped to $66.49. Western Canadian Select was up 33 cents to end the day, and the TSX finished the day lower at 33,776. Those are your business headlines. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
Tax season is officially underway. Today marks the first day to file 2025 income tax and benefit returns online. Most taxpayers have until April 30th, but the deadline for self-employed individuals or those with a self-employed spouse is June 15th. The Canada Revenue Agency says taxpayers should have an easier time this year after it rolled out a service improvement plan, which included streamlining its websites and hiring more call center workers. The CRA was criticized last year for long wait times.
A note for commuters, there are a couple of early nightly closures to be aware of on the subway this week. The TTC says trains will stop running at 11:59 tonight on Line 2 between Keele and St. George stations due to track work. The closure will be in place through Friday. On Line 1, service will end at 11 p.m. between Finch and Eglinton stations for planned tunnel work. That closure will be in place through Thursday. In both cases, shuttle buses will run until the end of service, with normal service resuming each morning at 6. Just ahead, it is as rare as they come. A Honus Wagner baseball card, touted as the holy grail of collectibles, scores big at auction. The story behind the sale and how much it went for after the break.
Canadians take cover as cartel violence erupts in Mexico.
Downtown Puerto Vallarta was covered in black smoke.
The urgent message from Ottawa and from travelers trapped on the ground. Tonight at 11, also on Crave.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
A lucky American family cashed in after discovering the holy grail of baseball cards in their grandfather's collection. This T206 Honus Wagner sold for more than $5.1 million U.S. at auction after being in the family for 116 years. The card of the Pittsburgh Pirate great is one of the rarest in the sports collectible world and was originally distributed in cigarette packs in 1909. It's the third most expensive version of the card ever to be sold.
Well, an impressive collection of movie stars came together today for a memorable class photo.
Congratulations to all on your well-deserved nomination. We can't wait to see you at the 98th Oscars on Sunday, March 15th.
Oscar nominees gathered during the Academy's annual luncheon today. It's a key event that celebrates the candidates ahead of Hollywood's biggest night. The early frontrunner for the show's biggest winner is the vampire thriller Sinners, with a record 16 nominations. Once the red carpet rolls out, you can catch the Oscars right here on CTV on March 15th.
A staple of Caribbean cuisine was being celebrated in the city today. Today is Jamaican Patty Day. Free patties were being handed out at Union Station's Bay kiosk to mark the occasion. The event paid tribute to Toronto's so-called Patty Wars in 1985, and that was when food inspectors decided Jamaican patty vendors couldn't describe their offerings as beef patties anymore. My dad still talks about that.
Really? He was really upset.
It was a big deal, but they worked it out.
Yeah, and they still taste the same. I think I know what we're having for dinner tonight.
Honestly.
Patties.
And the messier the patty, the better, right? They have to be flaky and delicious. And there's so many great patty places in the city, and you may want to stay inside tonight and eat patties, and tomorrow too, because it's going to be cold out there. A patty warms the heart and the soul, they say. No one says that, just me. But it is going to be cool as we head through this evening and into the start of the day tomorrow. We're at -7 right now, feeling like -17. And for the commute tomorrow morning to work, to school, to your daily activities, it will feel between -17 and -20. We don't get to that -6 for your high until late in the afternoon. We do hold on at a relatively seasonal point into the evening, but then we're watching for snow thanks to an Alberta clipper making its way across, which will run through your Tuesday evening into your Wednesday morning. And then we get a bit of a break until the next round of snow likely to roll in just in time for Monday next week.
Looking cold there, too. Okay, thank you, Jess. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jessica Smith and the whole team here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.